here's how my store is looking for the past month. See, I haven't sent anything in a while, so. All right, so here's how the store is doing so far. So all the stuff that I sent in last or 2 weeks ago, I've sold probably like 70% of that. And I'm doing like 298 in sales. Profit, if you want to dive deeper, is it's negative 1664. The reason why it's negative is because the subscription fee for Amazon kicked in last week. But if that didn't kick in, I would probably be sitting around like, I would say like $40 in profit. All right, so here's how the store is doing so far. So I actually did 477 in sales. So I put in 184 and then did 477 in sales. I didn't actually make 477. If you want to dive deeper into how much I actually did make, let's see. I actually am sitting at a negative $1.04 in profit for the month. The reason that is because the seller fees that come with selling on Amazon. So it's like $40 to sell to Prime members, and actually this is not even negative $1.04. I don't have the software fees put into seller board right now, so I'm actually probably sitting at a negative 40 something dollars because seller amp is like $22 and Keepa is like $20. So yeah, I'm actually sitting at a negative $40 in profit. But I mean, if I started with 84, if you subtract what $40 like 140 and then subtract another $40 to sell on Amazon, so I pretty much started with like $100 to sell. But anyways, hopefully next month I should have more money put into the business to make a profit. But that's how the store is doing so far. There isn't much stuff about any difference from last video about last month. I mean, the only difference is I thought that I was gonna end the month on 477 on in sales, but I actually ended up making well, I didn't make 600, but I did 666 in sales. So that's the only difference. The stuff that you guys saw me prepping last video, that stuff got into the warehouses faster than I expected. And one of the products that got to the warehouse, or one of the products in that batch was a hot seller. Like as soon as it landed in the warehouse, it sold instantly. And then there was one other product that took probably about, I think it was like 2 weeks to sell. And then the coffee that y'all saw me prepping, that actually sold this month. So that's about it. I'll pop up the stuff on my phone that I'm looking at right now so you guys can see. All right, so a pretty good amount of stuff has happened from the past, or yeah, the past week since last video. So last time I was doing my first sale, or I did my first sale, which was I think it was 49. Yeah, it was $49. Now I've done a total of 782, so like $100 better than last month. So I'm sitting at 782 for in sales for the past month so far. I have some stuff that I sent out today, and I should be able to squeeze in like one more shipment before the month ends. So I think I might be able to end the month on like 1,000 sales. Let's dive deeper into the numbers. So far I have done $67 in profit. So total Amazon fees I've paid so far was $359. The cost of goods of the products that has sold this month is $355. Net profit 67. My estimated payout so far for the month is $423. And then I'm sitting at a profit margin of 8%, and then return on investment is 19%. All right, so far currently we are on the this is the first day of December. So let's go ahead and click year to date and then click on November. Okay, so for November I sold a total of 1,274 Let's go ahead and dive deeper into the numbers. So 1,274 and 16 cents. I sold a total of 61 units. I paid $533 in shipping. That's an FBM order. I paid $571.24 in Amazon fees. Cost of goods for all of the 61 units was $582.30. Gross profit $115.29. So here are the last numbers for the last month of 2023. So I did $819 in sales, but I ended the entire month negative 317. I did actually make like $10, but before the year ended, I pushed out one last shipment and sent me into the negative. All right, so for the month, I have done $959 in sales. So far for today, I've done $51 in sales, and I sold 4 units. Actually, I think two of those units that I've sold so far was a liquidated product that I actually lost money on. So all right, so I'm about to dive deeper into the numbers. I'm just gonna have to warn you, it's not looking good for this whole month. I'll get into why, but okay. So diving deeper into the numbers, I am down $55.67. All right, so it's been a while since I've made a video from last video. From last video, whenever I was filming it, I was kind of down a lot. But this is the actual numbers of whenever that month ended. So I ended up losing $25. I think at the time I was recording that video, I was down $50. But $25 isn't really that much. So that's these numbers. I ended the month on $1,000.98 in sales. And let's go ahead and move on to what this month looks like. So this month I am doing $1,902 in sales. I've done $27 in sales so far. All right, so for March's numbers, let's go ahead and go into year to date. So far for the year, I have done 5,439 in sales. So let's go to March's numbers. In March, I did 1,732 in sales. Let's go ahead and dive deeper into the numbers. So out of that 1,731, I did $75 in profit. The ROI on my money was 9.88% and my profit margins was 4%, which is not really attractive numbers, but all right, so not wasting any time, let's go ahead and dive into the phone. So here's a little sneak peek of what May is looking like. So far I'm doing like 1,210 in sales. But anyways, let's go ahead and go to year to date and then click on April. So for April, I did 1,937 in sales. All right, guys, I know it's been like 5 months. The videos might have stopped, but the business kept going. So here's how much I've made so far for the past 5 months, starting from the last update, which was in April. All right, so we're in my phone now. So we're gonna go ahead and go to year to date. So last time I made a video was in April. So let's see. So in May, I'm gonna do the sales first, and then we're gonna go deeper into the numbers, or like the profit margins and net margins, or I mean the gross sales, the ROIs and the net margins. So in May, I did a total of 3,616 in sales. In June, I did 3,496 in sales. July, I did 2,527. August was 1,877. And then last month in September, I did 2,503 in sales. And then so far for the year, I'm at 21,700 and I guess 50 in total gross sales. So May, I did 3,616. I had 9 refunds. My gross profit was 368.24, and the net profit was 368.24. Margins or net margins was 10% and ROI was 26%. All right, so June 3,496.24. I had 10 refunds. The gross profit was 342.47, and then the net profit was 308.72. net profit and the ROI is, so the margins were 8% and the ROI was 23% for that month. So sales 2,526, gross profit was 167.42, and then the net profit was $6.40. So I did a lot of UPS pickups that month, and I think I bought some supplies too in that month. So the net margins is 0.25% and the ROI is 0.6%. All right, and then for August I did 1,876, 3 refunds. Gross profit was 304.82, and then the net profit was $202. Net margins is 10% and the ROI was 27%. All right, so then the final month, last month in September, I did 2,502 in sales, 5 refunds. Gross profit was 484, and then the net profit was 390. Going deeper into the numbers, the margins were 15% and the ROI was 48%. All right, so we are on my screen. So let's go ahead and click year to date. So far for the year, I have done $23,640 some dollars for the entire year in sales. I'm gonna go ahead and click October here. So October, I did $2,515 in sales. So $2,514.73. I had 113 orders and sold. Okay, I had 113 orders and sold 139 units. I had 7 refunds. Gross profit was $420.97. The net profit was $312.17. Going even more deeper into the numbers, my net margin was 12% and my ROI was 34%. All right, so let's go ahead and click year to date. So for November, I did, well, actually, let's go back. So far for the year, I've done $29,390 some dollars. For November, I did $4,798 in sales. Let's go ahead and go to my seller board and dive deeper into the numbers. So $4,797.94. I had 227 orders and I sold 254 units. I had 4 refunds. My gross profit was $1,211.79, and my net profit with all my software fees and stuff taken out is $1,129.09. So let's go deeper into the numbers. Let's see. My margins was 23% and my ROI was 62%. All right, so we are in the phone now. So here's a little sneak peek of what I'm doing so far in January 2025. So for this month, I did $788 in sales so far. First 9 days of January. So let's go ahead and do last 12 months. So if you're adding the sales that I did in January, it's 34,000. Subtracting that, I probably did, let's say, like 33,000 in sales for 2024. So we're going to go ahead and click December. So for December, I did $4,941 in sales. So let's head over to seller board and see how much I did. So $4,940.65 in sales. I had 9 refunds. I had 244 orders, sold 281 units. Gross profit was $650.82 and the net profit is $344.32. Margins, I did 6% in net profit margins and ROI is 20%. All right, so we are in my phone. Here's a little sneak peek for what's going on in February right now. So on the 1st, I've already done close to $500,000 for the month, but we're gonna go ahead and click year to date. So click on January. On January, I did $7,774 in sales. So let's go ahead and go into Sellerboard and see, or look deeper into what the numbers are for all of that. So $7,774.45 in sales. I had 406 orders and sold a total of 455 units. I got 7 refunds. My gross profit was $1,903.84, and with expenses and I guess stuff to run the whole business, everything taken out, I ended up with $1,334.50. Let's see, the ROI was 50% and the profit margins were 17%. So February I did $9,116 in sales. So $9,147.36 in sales. I had 552 orders, sold 598 units, had 18 refunds. My gross profit was $1,374.12, and with software fees, paying for shipping pickups and supplies, all of that minus out from that equal to $1,208.19 as my net profit. So going more deeper into the numbers, the net profit margins were 13% and the ROI was 34%. Okay, so we're on the Amazon seller app. So here's what I've done so far for April is $1,000, but let's go ahead and click year to date. All right, so far for the year, I have done 26,400, and I guess I'm gonna round it up to $10 in sales. So let's go ahead and click March. So March, I did $8,427 in gross sales. So $8,427.08. I had 431 orders, sold 477 units, and I had 24 refunds. My gross profit was $1,284.08, but with expenses taken out, like software, subscriptions, boxes, or tape, whatever, anything I need to work on the business, all that taken out, it left me with $974.68. So my net profit margin was 11% and my ROI was 29%. All right, so far for this month I've done 742. Let's go ahead and click year to date, and so far for the entire year I've done $32,450 something dollars if you're counting what the small amount of sales that I've done so far in May. But let's go ahead and click April. Okay, so far for April, what I did in April was $6,361. So the numbers, $6,382.81. I had 329 orders, sold 389 units. I had 14 refunds. My gross profit was $555.74. And with losses, expenses, losses and expenses taken out, I did $319.33. So that is actually not a lot from the amount of sales that I did, and I'll get into some stuff that did happen in April. But the profit margins were 5% and the ROI was 12%. All right, so we are in the phone. So far for June, I have done $363. But anyways, let's go ahead and click year to date. So year to date, I have done $42,180 something dollars. Let's go ahead and click May. So May I did 10,100, and I'm gonna round it up to like $10. So $10,113.41. I had 511 orders. I sold 578 units. I had 22 refunds. My gross profit was $1,557.59. With software expenses taken out, shipping expenses, supplies, I ended on $1,245.25. Let's go even deeper into the numbers. So That is a 12.31% profit margin with an ROI of 29.3%. All right, so we are in the phone. So here's what I'm doing so far for July. It's been the first week of July and I've already done 2,500. But let's go ahead and click year to date. So if you minus what I did for July so far, in total for the entire year, I've done $50,000, 290 something dollars. Let's go ahead and click June. So June, I did $6,023 in sales. All right, so $6,058.80. My orders that I had was 333, and I sold 361 units. I had 15 refunds. My gross profit was $773. That's with shipping fees taken out, or inbound shipping fees to Amazon, and all the seller fees are all taken out from gross profit. And then with my fees taken out, my expenses like UPS pickups, if I bought any boxes, any softwares that I paid for, all the stuff that I had to manually put in myself, I was left with $417.52. And let's go deeper into the numbers. So that was a 6.89% profit margin and an ROI of 17.51%. All right, so we are in the phone. So far for the month, it's been 2 days. I have done 940, but let's go ahead and click year to date. So year to date, I have done $62,950. Let's go ahead and click July. So July, I did $14,300. So $14,298.37. I had 763 orders, sold 880 units, had 12 refunds. My gross profit was $2,482.86 with expenses taken out, software expenses and boxes. I was left with $2,138.60. Let's go even deeper. So total expenses were $344.26. Let's see. Profit margins was 14.96 and ROI was 37.94%. So year to date, so far I have done 74,340K. Let's go ahead and click August. So August I did $10,000, $10,810 in sales. All right, so $10,881.71. I had a total of 610 orders, sold 660 units. I had 36 refunds. My gross profit was $1,307.15 with expenses taken out, softwares, boxes, and UPS pickups. I made a total of $1,089.45. Percentage wise, that is a 10% profit margin and an ROI of 26%. All right, so we are in the phone. So far in October, I have done $5,264. But anyways, let's go ahead and click year to date. So year to date so far, if you're counting what I did in October, I have done $91,170 to September. So September's numbers were $13,180 something dollars. Go ahead and head to Sellerboard and see what was profit on that number. So $13,182.49. I had 761 orders, sold 855 units. I had 28 refunds. My gross profit was $1,778.26 with expenses taken out. I was left with $1,399.42. Going deeper into the numbers, let's see. That is a 10.62% profit margin and an ROI of 27%. All right, so we are in the phone. So here's what I've done so far in November. I've done $6,468. Let's go ahead and click year to date. So for the entire year so far, I have done $108,000 in gross sales. So I have finally passed my goal for 100K for the year, and now I'm just setting the record. So let's go ahead and click October. Oh, no, that's November. Click October. So October I did 15,640. Let's go ahead and dive into Seller Board and see what the numbers are for that. So $15,642.63. I had 863 orders, sold 980 units, had 40 refunds. My gross profit was $1,825.79. With expenses taken out, I was left with $1,584.39 as my net profit. Let's go deeper into the numbers. So that was a 10.13% profit margin and an ROI of 24.60%. All right, so we are in the phone. So here's what I've done so far for December. I've done $5,492. Let's go ahead and click year to date. Click on November. So November I did $16,700 in gross sales. Let's head over to Seller Board and see what the numbers are for that. So $16,701.23. I had 855 orders, sold 968 units, a total of 39 refunds. My gross profit was $2,137.94. With expenses taken out, I was left with $1,744.13. Going deeper into the numbers, that is a 10% profit margin and an ROI of 26%. All right, what's up? Welcome back again to the final recap of 2025. So the numbers are in for December. So let's not waste any time and dive into the phone and see what I did for December. All right, so we are in the phone now. Let's go ahead and click last 12 months because we're already into the year, so December won't pop up. Let's go ahead and click December. So December I did $16,960 something dollars. Let's go ahead and head into Seller Board and see what the actual numbers are. Seller Board's numbers and the Amazon numbers are different, but for Seller Board, I did $17,036.27. I had 839 orders. I sold 980 units, had a total of 22 refunds. My gross profit was $2,219.02, and with expenses taken out, I was left with $1,874.62 as a net profit. Diving deeper into the numbers, that is a 11% profit margin and an ROI of 27%. All right, so all of 2025, I did a total of $135,313.45. I had a total of 7,238 orders and sold 8,164 units. Total for the year of 2025, I had 277 refunds. My gross profit was $18,952.30. So that's inbound shipping fees, Amazon seller fees, the any payments that they paid me for lost inventory, all of that stuff. That is that 18,952 number. And then my net profit was $15,082.99. So with me taking out software fees to run everything and run the whole business, cost of buying boxes, packaging tape, anything that I need to prep shipments, and all of my UPS pickups, and any of like courses and books that I've bought, which I did buy a couple in 2025. All of that taken out, I was left with $15,082.99. Diving deeper into the numbers, that is a 11.15% profit margin and an ROI of 28%. So not too bad, because in 2024, I'm pretty sure I did about like 30 some thousand and I netted about like 3K in profit. In 1 year, I jumped from 3K in profit to like 15K in profit. So that's a massive jump. So hopefully in 2026, I'm aiming to do $250,000 in sales, and then 11% of that is I'm just gonna estimate downwards and say 10% of that would be around like 25K. So that would still be a massive jump. I mean, it's not life-changing money, but it's money to start building something. I can't really afford a Lamborghini with that much money, but maybe one day. So if you made it this far to the end of the video, thanks for staying till the end, and I will see you in the next recap.